So
Muscle
yeah,
memory.
like during the weekdays, I was putting about 5 to 6 hours, per day after, working full time.
Yeah.
And on during the weekends, I was, going 9, 10 hours, maybe even 11, 12 hours, as much as
Wow.
I can. So
Hi, Rushi. Thanks a lot for taking this call. Um, During this brief interview, I'm going to go over your FE electrical and computer exam preparation. So, first of all, congratulations on passing this challenging exam in your first attempt.
thank you so much.
So, Rushi, I understand that your entire exam preparation timeline was just 45 days, correct?
That's right.
Or maybe even less than 45 days, partially because of your studying style you mentioned earlier, and partially because of other things that came in the way. So, a little bit of background, Rishi. When did you graduate? How many years you've been out of school?
So I graduated in May 2018. So that's about 3.5 years, when I start preparing for the exam.
Okay. And what what motivated you to get onto this PE licensing journey and got you thinking about that FE exam?
Well, the colleagues that I work with, I think most of them has their PE license, and I think that's something really motivated me because that gives you, that kind of authority, that gives you the credibility that you're an engineer. So when you do when you perform your work, that credibility comes with you. So
For
that's
sure.
something really motivated me to get the PE license.
And you work in the utility, correct?
That's right.
Right. So you're not necessarily doing much of the design work yourself, mostly outsourcing it to consultants, EPC, MEP firms, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Basically, we do more of a reliability work.
Right. Right. But even though you're not doing the design work, like the recognition and that respect, tell me a little bit about your FE exam preparation journey, Rushi.
Yeah. So I really wanted to, start preparing for the FE exam about 3 to 4 months before I take the exam. So I did register for the exam around September 2020, 2021. Uh, but I had some issues in my personal life, so I was not able to start preparing for my exam until after the new year, so after like January 1st. And because I already registered for the exam in February 2022, so I only had about 45 days to prepare for it. And for my preparation, basically I used your course, your on demand course, as well as your study guide. That was really really helpful because you watch the video and then you perform your problems on the study guide, and that really helped me. Initially, I started also using some other sources like a Lindenberg's book, but because I was constrained on my time, so I really just focused on your on-demand course and the study guide.
Okay. So walk me through your 45-day schedule. How did you started early in January. You wanted to start earlier in September, but you couldn't because of personal reasons. So between 1st of January and you took the exam mid-February, February-ish. Uh, so how did you approach your exam preparation? You told me that you have
So
a particular style of studying.
right. So I was during my college times when I have like multiple tests on one day, then I would usually go overnight and study. So that's that's something I have done before, but doing it after 3 4 years is kind of difficult. But still, because I had that experience before. So
Muscle
yeah,
memory.
like during the weekdays, I was putting about 5 to 6 hours per day after working full time.
Yeah.
And on during the weekends, I was going 9, 10 hours, maybe even 11, 12 hours, as much as
Wow.
I can. So that kind of really helped me prepare for my exam. And I also used like holidays, like we had a Martin Luther King holiday, so I used that holidays for preparation for my exam. So I just just work, sleep, eat, and FE exam. That's all I
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, so first of all, that's very impressive, right? 45 days getting this exam done is not a mean feat. Okay, you really have to be committed, and you prove that by putting intense amount of effort. Okay, it's like I mean, there's a common saying that you cannot have your cake and eat it too, right? So
Right.
something has to give way to it, and you basically compensated for that short timeline by intense amount of effort. Okay, so kudos to you. I know that me included, I don't think that I can package that much intense work until unless I probably absolutely have to, right? Even then, I'll doubt it. Like my studying style has been very different. Everybody has their own study style, right? I would plan
Right.
things out. And funny story, I remember that when I took my FE exam, the last week before the exam, I didn't study at all. All I was doing was running and swimming. Okay, and my wife was actually concerned. She thought that I'm not taking the exam, and she thought that I had postponed it, and then I had given up. But I told her that I think that night or 1 or 2 nights before, I just opened the NCSFE reference handbook to review it. But everyone has a different study style. But what you pulled off, I don't think I would have been able
Right.
to.
And adding to this story, I also want to mention, and I don't recommend doing this to for anybody else.
Yeah.
The day I was supposed to take the exam, 8 o'clock in the morning, I study the day before overnight until four
Wow.
o'clock in the morning. I don't
Wow.
recommend doing that. And then I only took like 4 to 6, just 2 hours of sleep, and then I wake up and went to take this study. I don't recommend this, but
Yeah.
that's how I've done before, during my college time. So I was able to
Yeah.
do it, but I don't recommend doing that.
Right. That's the price that you have to pay, right? But again, we are polar opposites. All right. I would never
Yeah,
be able to do that. For me, I need sleep on regular days, and I definitely need a lot of sleep when there's something that important happening in life, right? So, yeah, congratulations. But this is what you have to do if any one of you who is watching this interview are thinking of that you can wing it, all right, with 45 days. Look at the complete story. The complete story is a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of intense studying, a lot of sacrifice, long weekends are sacrificed here, Saturdays, Sundays are sacrificed. Probably you had next to no social life during this entire time,
that's right.
right? So if you think that you can actually pay all of these prices, then by all means go ahead. I don't know if I mentioned this to you or in any of the other interviews, but I've had late last year, two students who completed the exam in 3 weeks. I wasn't able to get their interviews done, but they sent me emails and they're like, Wasim, don't recommend this to anyone because it's very intense. 3 weeks, you can potentially get it done, but like it's very very difficult. So within the course and the resources, so you use the study guide and the course. So for this 45 days, right? During these 45 days, what was the strategy? How are you using these resources effectively?
Basically, I was just going through each section. You have about 17 sections to cover. And I was trying to target, you always mention in your videos as well that there is like 5 section math, circuits, power, that, those 5 sections that has the most problems that's going to
Weightage, yeah.
come. Yeah,
Big five. Big
big
five.
five. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, although I was going in sequentially, but, as I was getting close to the exam date, I realized that, I first need to complete those 5 so that, I can get the most amount of, uh, points in the exam.
Right.
So, although I didn't get to cover everything, I missed out on computer architecture and also missed out on the system, the last section, the software engineer portion. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
complete the half of it. So yeah, about 1.5 section, I didn't even study for it. But,
Mm-hmm.
I try to cover everything as much as I can in those
Right.
45 days.
Right. So you paid more attention to the heavily weighted topics. You made sure that you got them right,
Right.
and some of the sections at the end you took a calculated risk because of the time constraint to skip them. But even then, you sort of touched a little bit upon it. Like for example, computer networks. There's overwhelming amount of content in my course, as we were discussing earlier in computer networks. So one of the issues that I run into, as I mentioned to you, is that a lot of power systems engineers really don't take many courses in computer networks and computer systems and software, digital systems, right? So I have compensated for that in my course by adding a lot of content in all of these topics. But then when they see a lot of content, they're like, Wasim, do we really have to do this? So
Yeah,
there's no easy way out, right? Uh,
right.
but I, uh, but I'm glad to hear that you focus on the important or the heavy topics, and then you still utilized the remaining sections in some capacity. So hopefully that helped.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. In computer architecture, although I think only 4 to 6 questions comes out of that section, you put a lot of effort into recording for 9 hours of videos. It was on my part because I was not able to judge the amount of time that I will need to complete the entire course in 45 days. So eventually I had to skip that section for me. But if I were to go back and if I had about 2 to 3 months to study for, then I would definitely uh, go through the entire lecture because it would give you the amount of knowledge that I need to study for that particular section because I don't have any background in computer architecture.
Right. Yep. Well, now the good thing is you don't have to go back, right? You're
Yeah,
moving forward, and you're moving forward to your P Power exam preparation. And I'm glad to see you in my P Power course. And hopefully within the next 3 to 4 or 5 months, we're gonna get your P Power exam preparation done as well. And we'll do another interview when you pass the P Power exam. So
sure. Yeah, and, I,
congratulations.
and I'm now planning on to studying PE power exam for 45 days now.
Yes. Yeah, I think the closest time or the shortest amount of time that I've seen my students at least, and there's an interview, I'll probably link it in this video, is one of my students, he passed the P Power exam just with 2 months of preparation using the course. And again, in that video as well, he says don't recommend it to anyone else because it's intense. Like if you have time on your hand,
Yeah.
enjoy the journey. As I was telling you, that you're one step away from getting licensed, okay? And some of the stuff, or most of the stuff that you're going to see in the PE Power course is what you would have taken in your third or fourth year of engineering, which is at least like 5, 6 years ago. So now the fact that you're going to get licensed hopefully very soon, right? It's a good opportunity for you to sort of sit back a little bit and refresh all of those concepts. And given the fact that now you have experience in the field, right? You are a
Hmm.
distribution engineer, you have worked on several projects, right? You know the terminologies, you've been out in the field, you interact with field engineers, commissioning engineers, the maintenance engineers, reliability engineers. So you'll be able to better absorb the technical content that's going to be thrown at you. So you should relish that opportunity to sort of learn it. So take it easy, and we're going to go through the P Power program. I also have the live training component to it. It's a lot of interesting group-based learning. So yeah, I look forward to helping you in the very last step of your P licensing journey. So once again, Rushi, congratulations on getting this done and moving on to the last and the final stage of your P licensing process.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Wasim, for helping me out.
You're welcome. Thank you.